As of yesterday, June 17th of 2025, I hit the 10-year anniversary of me playing piano. And it's been a very long journey. I have learned a whole deal of things that I never thought that I would be learning. And I want to share some of them with you. I have compiled a list of 9 questions that I am going to answer. And I hope that this helps you as much as it's helped me in reflecting over these 10 years. Before we continue, make sure that you like and subscribe so that you can continue seeing more videos like this. It really helps out the channel. Question number 1. Why did I start playing piano? Fairly simple. I began playing because I wanted revenge. I know, it sounds like, what? But so I started playing because I used to be part of this choir at my church. And I was essentially kicked out. At the time I played guitar. I still do, not at a very high level, but I still do. And I was kicked out of this choir because I was unprepared. I wasn't bringing my materials and whatnot. Now, granted, this is me, a 13-year-old, who's getting kicked out of a place where he's trying to belong in. And so my immediate, reaction was, okay, I need to get better. And I'm going to get better not because I want to come back and help them, because I want to be better than them. And it began this journey having the idea of revenge. And then eventually it became a lifelong endeavor, which has resulted in a loving affair with music that I believe will continue for the rest of my life. Question number 2. What inspired me to become a classical pianist? The money. No, I'm kidding. It's not the money. Why? That's really dumb. But what inspired me, partially, I began to, the best way to learn to read and write music is by learning a lot of the classical aspects, mainly because they've been, tested and proved to work the best. I'm not saying that classical is better than any other style or anything like that, but simply that the best way to understand music, at least in its written form, the best way is by learning the classical portion of it. And what inspired me to want to do that was that because I started learning music in the notation that we use in the Western way, I began to look more into different people who were famous, at least playing, classical music for piano. And I stumbled upon this video, which I'll link up here in the description somewhere, talking about what it takes to become a concert pianist. And after watching it and understanding that you have all these experts telling you that you need to start from the age of being an embryo up until maybe you become 12 or even younger, you don't have a chance at doing it. And so I said to myself, you know what? I want to do this. It seems doable. And to some degree, it has been. Question number 3. What piece began my journey into the world of classical music? Without a doubt, hands down, it was the Ballade Number 1 from Chopin. I think by watching the movie The Pianist, it's a very famous movie. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. But this movie, it has this scene where the pianist, he essentially plays for a German soldier who finds him in this abandoned house. And he asks him, oh, what was your profession and whatnot? And he says, oh, I was a pianist. And he then proceeds to play the most heart-wrenching version of the ballad that I've ever heard. And after hearing that, I think I was about, I don't know, maybe 13, 14 at the time. It just shook my world. And to this day, every time I listen to it, I don't shed tears, but it reminds me of my adolescence and some of the things that I went through in middle school, some things in high school. And it is just a piece that it's really, really, really well written. And it touches a part of the human soul that I think everyone should listen to. So yeah, I would say that's the piece that started me off. And then after that, I began to, go into other things. But basically, Chopin Ballade Number 1, best piece in the world. Question number 4. How much did you practice when you first started out? I could lie to you guys and say that when I started out, I was practicing 6 to 8 hours a day, nonstop. But the truth is that I wasn't. When I started out, I was doing, I don't know, it's really hard to remember just because I remember enjoying it so much. I was learning how to use my fingers individually, but I also had prior knowledge of playing music. I was playing church music, which for the most part uses chords and rhythms. And I also came from playing, guitar. So I understood how some rhythms worked with some songs. And I was able to apply that into some of the music that I was learning. But realistically, maybe I was doing about 30 minutes. And then the more my teacher began to add more music, I started to practice more, maybe up to 2 hours max. And this was mainly as I was getting ready for my college auditions. Within my first 4 years, I don't think I was doing more than an hour. Maybe I was. I mean, it's really hard to remember because I didn't log my practices back then. Now I do, but it's really difficult for me to remember. But for the most part, yeah, I would say about 30 minutes, and the more my teacher adds, the more I would do. Question number 5. How has piano shaped who you are today? Well, I think the biggest component of what piano playing has done for my life, is the idea of perseverance and discipline. I don't consider myself a disciplined person, at least not in the traditional sense. And I say that because we tend to have this idea that, you either are a disciplined person or you're not. And the truth is that it's not true. I think discipline comes in many forms. It doesn't necessarily apply to all subjects. Some people who are incredibly disciplined are disciplined in every aspect of their lives, whether it's in their time, in their organization, in the different endeavors that they take on. I'm only disciplined when it comes to playing piano. Now, granted, I wouldn't say I'm the most disciplined person, because even to this day, the most I can practice in a day, and that's like on a good day, the stars align, my chakras are in line, and I have the blessing of the Most High. Only then can I practice for maybe 5 hours a day. If I really have to do a lot of work or accompanying, then yeah, I would do 5. But, in most cases, I get to do 1 to 2 hours just because I work a part-time job, which takes a bit of a toll in my hands. I don't do any heavy lifting, but just a lot of typing, and that ends up taking a lot of my time and a lot of my strength and focus by the time I come home. So that's pretty much what I do. Question number 6. What are you most proud of from these 10 years? I think that the thing that I'm most proud of is that I got my degree. It just came in. I wish I could show you guys, but I lent the degree to my mom so that she could find a frame for it. But I think that the thing I'm most proud of is that I was able to accomplish it. That degree, it cost a lot of money. Well, not as much as a conservatory degree, but it cost my parents some money. And it also cost me a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It took about 5 years of my time. I have put in so much work into getting it, into learning the subjects, into practicing. I've probably spent the most practicing in these 5 years than before I joined college. But that comes with that comes with the field. I am proud that I can accompany semi-successfully. I was able to learn a concerto reasonably fast. I almost won a concerto competition, which is, it's pretty good considering that I don't have any experience in any competitions. I've played in multiple recitals for my school. I've done my own recitals for my senior recital, and I've also made a few public recitals with some friends. And I'm very proud that because of the experiences that I've gained from this degree, I was able to achieve all of these things. And now that I'm doing my master's, that's probably another thing that I would be proud of in the next video, which will come out in about another 10 years. So stick around for that. Question number 7. Why did I begin content creating online when I have music as my main job? What I really mean by this is I have spent the last 10 years learning how to play piano. Why the heck am I making videos? Well, I think that nowadays the landscape has changed as far as how musicians and I guess creators, pianists, how we all make our money. Now, as of right now, I haven't made a single dime from making videos. I wish I could say that I have. I haven't made a single dime. So I've basically invested on camera gear, editing software, editing materials. Luckily I was given a free Mac Mini from a friend, but honestly, it's been more investing that I've done than I've gotten back. However, there is something rewarding about making videos, and that is that you get to focus other areas of your creativity, and you can put a spotlight on it and say, for example, if I'm making, learning a certain piece, for example, the Chopin Ballade, which I'm currently learning, I'm doing a 30-day challenge where I'm trying to learn it. realistically, I wouldn't have done it. I mean, I would have done it maybe within 2 months, 3 maybe, but I decided to do it within 30 days because I think that it might be doable, especially at the level that I've now reached. But I also want to prove to myself that I learned something over these 10 years, and it's not just like oh, I want to learn it and I'm gonna just hit my head against the wall until I do. But content creating, it allows for people who have no idea what goes on in the lives of classical musicians to have a glimpse into what our life is like. Same thing as with other artists or, painters and stuff like that. You don't know what really goes into their work until you get to see it up close, and that is what content creating has allowed for me to do for you guys. Question number 8. Where do you want to be in the next 10 years? If you had asked me 10 years ago where I was going to be, I honestly wouldn't have known what to tell you guys. I would have said that I wanted to be a psychologist, like my mom. But after I fell in love with music, it was very difficult to want to be a psychologist when you can work out your own problems while playing. Granted, there's a lot of frustration, but in a way, teaching piano is kind of like psychology. You have to get people to do stuff that they wouldn't normally do, and you have to do it in such a way that they do it. I think that's what makes a successful teacher, when you're able to get a student to do something and that they actually do it. Because some students, they'll tell you, oh yes, I'm gonna work on that, and the truth is that they don't, and then you get more frustrated, and then you hate on the student, and then the student hates you because you hate them, and it's just a whole thing. If you can get your students to do the things you want them to do, I would say that you're a successful teacher. But anyways, where do I see myself in 10 years? Well, in these past 10 years, I've learned how to teach piano, I've learned how to video edit, I've learned how to perform music at a relatively high level. I've learned that I can sight read at an okay level. I need to keep doing that. So I don't know. Assuming that everything works out well, maybe someday I'll get to play in Carnegie Hall. I mean, at this point, you never know what's gonna happen, right? So I'm gonna put my hopes and just keep working. I'm gonna keep making videos and just being open to the possibilities of many things happening, not just one specific thing. Question number 9. What is the most important lesson you've learned so far? The most important lesson I've learned so far. Funny enough, my professor asked us on my last semester during studio, he said, what is your takeaway from this semester? And I had to think for a good minute, but the answer that I gave him was, I'm still learning. I haven't figured it all out yet. For you to always be a student, it's going to allow you to always reach new limits. If you say, I have nothing left to learn, then you are setting yourself a mental block that will always tell you, I have nothing left to learn, so why should I keep trying? Think of it this way. I remember hearing Paul McCartney say in an interview, they asked him, what's been your favorite song to work on so far? And he said, oh, I haven't written my favorite song yet, because once I do, no other song is ever going to compare. So I would say that about my lessons in these past 10 years. I haven't reached the pinnacle of knowledge, so I'm not going to stop yet. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you loved it. Before I go, I'll leave you guys with a little clip of me when I first started out playing.